So check it out, folks. We're here in the hallowed halls, Red Bank, New Jersey. Super pumped to be here with you today. A lot of information is coming out so fast right now. Like all the different news outlets, all the different social media platforms. We are so bombarded with information, disinformation, misinformation, don't know who or what to trust, which is why we always say it's important to create a game plan where the right hand speaks to the left hand, and you really have all your financial planners or professionals on the same page for your benefit. Remember, they don't pay you, you pay them. So don't feel like you can't ask any questions, because you should ask questions. But with that being said, you know, today I'm with my partner, Eddie G. Eddie Gardner.
What's up, Ed? Rob?
How you doing, man?
Doing awesome.
Today, what we're going to get into is, are you ready for retirement? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What is retirement? I don't even know what that word means. Does that mean you stay at home and just get money every month and do nothing? Does that mean you go on vacations and then do nothing? Like, what is retirement?
So, you know, I think it's different for each person. I think that people should be thinking about, to your point, what does retirement look like for you? Is retirement this, you know, hey, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm not going to wake up? Because the people I know that stop working and then don't do anything don't seem to live a very long life.
Yeah, I think there's a statistic that, and please double or triple check this, but I think the average male, at least, the day he decides to stop working, shuffles. He does the Ollie shuffle off this mortal coil, meaning he passes away and moves on to that next phase of spirituality, meaning he dies. So I think that retirement, I always want to avoid. I want to be able to live a life of what I want to do, when I want to do, how I want to do, with who I want to do. And I would offer that everybody have that desire and wish, but it's not going to show up at your front door.
And that sounds more like financial freedom than it does retirement.
Yeah, and financial freedom, to that point, it doesn't have to have a specific number, right?
Right.
It's based on money in, money out, expenses, budget, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So one of the things that people think about is that there was a commercial that went around, what's my number? And you see people walking around with the big digits on their head. But really the question is, what's your lifestyle? What do you want your lifestyle to look like? Because if you're living on, you know, and so some people will say like, oh yeah, I could live on $50,000 a year, but they're earning 150.
Yeah.
So my question is, how are you going to live on a third of what you're earning today, right? Because that money you making today, that represents your lifestyle.
It does. It
so
does.
If you are earning 150,000 pre-retirement, you live a $150,000 lifestyle. Do you want to live the same lifestyle when you retire, whatever that actually means? Yep. Or do you want to live less of a lifestyle?
When you create disruption and you have a game plan behind it, what begins to happen is you don't think like everybody else. Right. I think Eddie just mentioned that if you have a $150,000 lifestyle when you retire, that's not going to change. And he's right. But you know what's going to change? The cost of living. So if you have a $150,000 lifestyle when you're 60, you're now 66. That 150 is like 170, and you better be able to keep up with that, because if you're a family man, you love your kids and grandkids. Well, guess what? There's going to be more money that has to go around in that direction as well.
Yeah, and the article's just coming out today, right? People are delaying retirement.
Who's the source?
CNBC.
Okay.
And CNBC just dropped an article talking about people delaying retirement. Why? Inflation. Inflation that, by the way, they said it was transitory.
They did say that. They.
Yes. The press.
They.
The administration. The people that didn't want you to think that there is...
They. Why? They printed more money too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. So, you know, the point is, if you're focused just on chasing a rate of return for retirement, 401ks, IRAs, those sorts of things, or if you're focused on saving and clipping coupons, not that that's a bad thing, but like all of these different measures to kind of cut costs, well, when they start raising the cost of everything, it doesn't matter how much you save.
You know, thank you for sharing that, dude. That's so awesome, because I think at the end of the day, people get so conditioned, whether it's through their friends, relatives, even certain kind of planning methods, which could be specific for the one planner. I think when folks get so conditioned, what happens when you get the market doing what it's doing right now? And listen, I'm not an economist and I'm never going to predict the market, right? But here's what I'm going to tell you. If we look at the greatest chart in history, which goes from 1980 until December 31st, 2021. It's the S&P. And what the S&P did from 1980 to 2021, if you left your money in there and if you let the dividends reinvest, it averaged 12% a year. I want you to think about that. If you did nothing with the money, it averaged 12% a year. I think 0.00000000001% of the people out there did nothing with the money and left it there, because the truth is, intra-year, meaning during each year, its negative down was down 14%. So although it averaged 12, at some point during that year, it was down 14%. And guess what? During that time, people may have needed money for tuition. People may have needed money to buy a house. People may have needed money to buy another business. So if they took the money out, well, it has a horrible effect on the overall portfolio, including what kind of taxes you owe on it as well. So if we know that it averaged 12, but intra-year was down 14, we also know that 35 of the 41 years, by the time we got to the end of the year, it was higher than it was where it started.
Yes.
This is powerful information. And by the way, this is just one asset class. Well, what if you're complementing that with alternatives, with life insurance, with real estate, and your own business? Well, guess what? When winter comes, and it's here right now, inflation's at a 40-year high. Transitory inflation turned into regular inflation. We know that gas is costing more money each day. We know food's costing more money each day. But for the folks that are listening, that are disciplined, that are on YouTube University checking us out right now, well, guess what? You're buying businesses or you're buying stuff on sale right now that no one else could do because they're like everybody else keeping up with the Joneses. What do you think about that, brother?
One of the things you just said is, like, if you're taking money out, right? Like when that market's coming down and that was your only nest egg for retirement, you're no longer putting money in, you're taking money out. You're locking in losses when the market's dropping. So, in some of the conversations we have today, it's, think about, like you were talking about, in 2008, we finished down 37% S&P 500, right?
Intra-year, it was down 53, just so you know.
Yeah, so down 53%. Imagine your 401k goes from $1 million to 500,000.
Say that again.
Your 401k.
You're 64.
Intra-year.
64 years old.
From $1 million, your lifetime's worth of savings, down to $500,000.
Let me just take that, rewind it back. You're 64 years old. It's 2008. Middle of the year, your 401k 9 months before that was worth $1 million. And for like a day or two, when everybody was running all over the place, jumping out of windows, it hit $500,000. What did you do when that happened? 99% of you ran east looking for a sunset. And that's what you got to worry about.
Yeah. So all too many people cashed out at the wrong time. Right. So like you were talking about before, having those different buckets.
You talk about Iceberg Slim?
Yes.
Okay.
And
watch his face.
And having different asset classes, putting your money in different buckets, not being in just one thing, allows you to sustain and take full brunt of these markets.
It was funny today because you said something powerful in our mastermind group with one of the leading accountants on the East Coast, Anthony Murielli. Yeah. You were talking about expanding your business and how doing that stays ahead of inflation. Can you share that for these folks? Because listen, this is about retirement as well, because somebody can retire but maybe get into another business or maybe do one other expansions to keep their money right.
That is like the Iceberg Slim model.
I know,
right?
City to city.
As you're expanding your business, the business expansion can in fact just be a hedge against inflation.
Break that down, brother. That's
because what you're doing by growing your business, you're getting ahead of it. You're creating a model where you're increasing your income.
I love it.
And you don't have to, like so many people talk about a side hustle, which is great, but you don't need a side hustle that's necessarily outside of your business. If you can just create more business from where you're at, a side hustle's done. Like just have it keep expanding in what you're doing.
Phenomenal. What Eddie just talked about, for all the folks that like to use the word side hustle, what he just said, no. Let's get a new phrase for that. Replace yourself in your business that you know so well. And by replacing yourself in a business that you know so well, what begins to happen is you recapture time. Yeah. And as a result of it, more revenues come in. And as a result of that, you're staying ahead of inflation. When other people are chasing it, you're on the other side of it. It happens every day, all day, twice on Sunday. And I'll never forget whether it was Sean Callagher or Chris Crone, they've always told us to replace ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the same model that we're doing here, and this is why Epic's been able to expand.
Yes. And the topic is retirement, right?
Yes.
Like what that looks like. So,
Yes.
So from a retirement perspective, what are folks doing? Let's say if somebody was a police officer or somebody owned their business or they were firemen, they could retire from that, but they could go do something else as well.
Yeah.
And stay ahead of all the different things that are out there hurting them, which is why they're delaying 25% of the folks that are delaying retirement.
And I think a lot do that, right? Because I know a lot of cops, firefighters, teachers, people that will put in their time, vest in their pension, get enough of that pension, and then move on to something else. A lot of the military folks that we work with do the same thing, right?
Yep.
They put in their time, they get their pension, but then it's off to what is the next thing. And so often
private security, something like that.
Private security, but some people are moving into real estate. Some people are, what they're doing is just finding something that they love.
Yes.
Right. And going after whatever that next thing is.
Yes. And if you play in the space of Chris Crone, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you have experience 20, 30 years or something, and now you have like not College of Financial Planning, which is really communistic, and it's meant to serve the government and the financial institutions, but really want to become entrepreneurial and create your own liquidity. Well, you folks out there that have all this life experience, well, guess what? Because of your relationship capital, not being resourceful, or not resourcefulness, but being resourceful, all of a sudden you could start advising businesses. And if you do it well enough where their revenues increase, you have the permission to ask for a piece of the revenues. And if you're really good, you have the permission to ask for a piece of the company. No money out of pocket, time, yes, but no money out of pocket. And for the folks that are liquid, that are clear, sober thinking folks that are organized and structured, you're leaving one business. Besides, if you're going to buy real estate or other investments, this is out there for the taking as well. So it's something that we always want to share with folks. We're always trying to create more and more information and be able to provide as much value as we can through our process.
Yeah. So I think the question that we started with, right, is are you ready for retirement? And I think that's where people really need to sit down and think about what that next stage is going to be. Even if they're 5-10 years out from retirement, they should be thinking about what is the next thing that I want to do with my life. And have I created enough financial abundance that I can go and do that?
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Ed. And what I would say is, are you ready to turbocharge your retirement dollars that'll be coming in while creating a whole nother business, living the life that you deserve, and creating the optimal amount of wealth for you and your family, generationally speaking, and have it replaced tax-free? Go ahead and click the link below. We'd love to sit down with you, and there is no obligation ever, but we'd love to sit down with you and take you through our success educational process. Whether we have books, you check us out on our social media platforms, or if you want a free consultation, we're here for that conversation. And we can't thank you enough for being part of the channel and listening to us. And every single day, we just want to provide more and more education, right?